Don't trust them. Period. They just don't trust them. I mean, Harry to them is like Brooklyn Beckham is to the Beckham.
Well, the word is same treatment this time. If they do get this audience with the king, they're going to be strip searched, not strip shirts. They're going to be searched, bodies searched, and they're not going to be allowed to take in phones.
They'll have to sign NDAs, probably.
Recording devices. I mean, this is extraordinary, isn't it?
How do you trust this son of yours who every single time you see him in the last few years, everything gets leaked?
Nobody wants them here except sort of marginally the king who wants to see his grandchildren. Not a single person in Britain apart from the king.
This is what she thrives on. This is the water, the oxygen to this person. Because when you've never had fame for your talent, if you can just be written about, then that's wonderful.
The whole world knows this attempt at a reconciliation, in quotation marks, with the royal family is a desperate attempt by a couple that has failed in an epic, humiliating fashion.
So when Harry comes back, particularly with his family, it's just one long right royal snub from the rest of the royals, and that's embarrassing to say the least.
How do you rebuild trust when almost every meeting seems to spark another wave of headlines? That's the question many royal commentators have continued asking over the past few years, as Prince Harry's relationship with the royal family remains under intense public attention. Instead of confidence, many observers describe an atmosphere filled with caution and careful planning. In their view, trust has become one of the biggest obstacles standing in the way of any lasting reconciliation. Some have even compared Harry's situation to Brooklyn Beckham's well-publicized family tensions, where expectations, media attention, and unresolved issues appear to influence nearly every interaction. As reports surfaced about Harry and Meghan possibly returning for another visit, it may have looked as though past disagreements had finally begun to fade. Public appearances remained polite, and formal courtesies suggested everything was under control. But according to many royal commentators, the reality behind palace doors may have been far more complicated. Nearly every reported discussion appeared to involve careful preparation, quiet conditions, and clear but unspoken limits. More than anything else, one question seemed to overshadow everything else: could trust truly be rebuilt after everything that had happened? Much of that discussion has centered on Queen Camilla, who is often described by royal commentators as taking a cautious and measured approach toward the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Royal biographer Angela Levin has suggested that some people within royal circles may have been concerned that any visit could also generate publicity connected to Meghan's future projects. Whether that interpretation is accurate remains a matter of opinion, but it has become part of the wider public conversation surrounding the family's ongoing relationship.
I am showing you explosive proof of how the BBC lied to me. That is our national broadcaster that is paid for by us, and they lied to protect Harry.
Nobody wants them here except sort of marginally the king who wants to see his grandchildren. Not a single person in Britain apart from the king wants them anywhere near this country. It's going to be humiliating for them. They are going to get the frosty reception from hell, aren't they? Here's the answer. Because to take the easy option and just stick around in California won't get Manic Meg a single column inch of positive publicity. In stark contrast, jetting back to Britain and hooking up with the king will garner the type of headlines the Duchess urgently requires if she is to have even the slightest chance of saving her dead business walking. The Duchess in particular is said to be in a state of near terror at the grim prospect of a cold as ice response from the royals and a cacophony of booing from Brits, who she seems to believe are a nation of racist slave drivers.
Spent years trashing our country, who's branded the royals a bunch of callous racists.
And he emphasised the concern that Angela Levin has actually reported here on Outspoken, that Meghan is going to use the trip to push her failing business.
Queen Camilla has long been viewed as someone who places great importance on continuity, stability, and royal tradition. However, many reports have suggested that her relationship with Harry became increasingly strained following the release of his memoir, Spare. The book included Harry's personal memories and reflections about private family matters, including comments involving Camilla that attracted widespread attention. Since then, many royal analysts have argued that rebuilding that relationship has become especially challenging, with those earlier events continuing to influence interactions today. Those underlying tensions appeared to receive renewed attention during Harry's previous trip to London while King Charles was undergoing treatment for his health. Even the smallest details quickly became major topics across the media. Harry's brief meeting with his father at Clarence House was described by many commentators as respectful but noticeably formal rather than warm or relaxed. Although father and son did meet, reports suggested the encounter reflected the careful approach that now seems to define much of their relationship. According to several reports, Harry entered through the standard security procedures used for visitors instead of receiving any special arrangements. While those procedures may simply follow normal protocol, some royal commentators believe the detail carried symbolic meaning. In their view, it highlighted just how much the relationship had changed over recent years. They argued that Harry was no longer viewed as someone with unrestricted access to the royal inner circle, but instead as a family member whose visits now followed far stricter procedures. Whether intentional or simply routine,
To Queen Camilla. He's friends with the Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, and just a few weeks ago was pictured partying with Edo, Beatrice's hubby. And that's a whole other story, but she was there too. So he has direct sources from within the royal family who are telling him, no, we don't trust Meghan, no, we don't want her back, and are even comparing Prince Harry to Brooklyn Beckham.
They said, no. Camilla said you can't come through this way. She made him go through the security doors at the front to check for phones or recording devices because she doesn't trust him an inch. And if you remember, she also insisted on sitting there throughout his meeting with the king to make sure he didn't leak anything.
He thinks he's going to waltz back in and everybody's going to go, oh, yay, Harry. Is just a fanciful delusion on his part. But Harry and Meghan do live in delusion. It's how they've kept going, I think, this far, is that they have to delude themselves constantly as to their state in life. But they failed in Hollywood, they failed in the royal family, and they're going to try to fall back to the royals, but I just don't think that is a situation that will work at all, and they definitely will not be welcomed back.
that reported detail generated significant discussion because trust remains such an important part of how the monarchy functions. The royal family operates in a world built around confidential conversations, carefully planned schedules, complex security arrangements, and highly sensitive responsibilities. Because of that, many commentators believe trust carries extraordinary value. Once confidence begins to fade, rebuilding it is rarely simple or quick. Every meeting, every appearance, and every decision naturally receives even greater public attention, making any effort to restore closer relationships much more difficult. Supporters of Harry and Meghan continue to argue that they had every right to share their own experiences and explain their perspective publicly. From that viewpoint, speaking openly represented honesty and an opportunity to tell their side after years of remaining largely silent. Critics, however, see the situation very differently. They believe the interviews, documentaries, and published accounts had lasting consequences for family relationships. Opinions remain sharply divided, and that disagreement continues to shape much of today's discussion surrounding the royal family. Because of that history, many royal observers believe rebuilding closer family ties involves far more than arranging another meeting.
What would upset Prince William and the Princess of Wales is Harry and Meghan coming in general, not the offering of a royal estate, because that's happened in the past. It wouldn't surprise them. But Harry and Meghan coming in general would probably get under their skin, because Harry and Meghan have rejected this royal family. They've slandered this royal family.
The idea that Meghan's in her delusional, arrogant, self-hypnotizing state can actually believe that she is going to come back over and swan over here occasionally and just wave her broomstick, her magic wand.
Is that basically she wanted not to be where they've suggested, which is up in Sandringham, but actually in Windsor. She thought that would be more convenient, perhaps even using the royal helicopter to fly up to Birmingham. Oh, yes. And you've got no idea what's really going on behind the scenes.
Or appearing together in public. Reports surrounding Harry's meeting with King Charles attracted additional attention after commentators noted that Queen Camilla was reportedly present during the discussion. Analysts offered different interpretations. Some viewed her presence as completely routine, while others believed it reflected the careful and structured way important family conversations are now handled. Whatever the explanation, it became another detail that kept public interest focused on the family's evolving relationship. One of the biggest reported changes involves access to private family moments and informal conversations that may once have happened naturally. While not every report can be independently confirmed, many royal commentators agree that circumstances appear to have shifted considerably. According to numerous observers, Harry can no longer assume the same unrestricted level of access that reportedly existed years ago. Whether that situation proves temporary or permanent remains unclear, but many see it as one of the strongest signs of how relationships within the royal family have changed. Then there is Prince William, whose reported approach has often stood in sharp contrast to Harry's more public responses. Rather than giving lengthy interviews or regularly commenting on family disagreements, William has largely remained silent. Many commentators believe he has deliberately chosen to let his actions speak instead of responding directly to ongoing speculation. As reports circulated about Harry and Meghan's possible visit, additional rumors suggested that William, Catherine, and their children might not take part in any broader family gathering. While those reports have never been fully confirmed, they added another layer to an already closely watched situation. Many royal commentators believe that contrast between the brothers has become increasingly important. When disagreements continue, people often debate, respond, and try to explain their positions.
It makes sense at all for Harry and Meghan to just waltz back in as if nothing has happened. They can, yes, have familial relations with people, personal ones, but not dynastic ones anymore. They've left that behind. And the British public doesn't really want them. Like, nobody really wants them around. I mean, I'm not even entirely believing that even Harry's own family wants him around. So this idea that he thinks he's going to waltz back in and everybody's going to go, oh, yay, Harry, is just a fanciful delusion on his part. But Harry and Meghan do live in delusion. It's how they've kept going, I think, this far, is that they have to delude themselves constantly.
Silence, however, can sometimes send an entirely different message. Some observers believe William's reported decision to keep his distance reflects a desire to prioritize stability and avoid extending public family disagreements. Others see it simply as a personal decision to protect his immediate family from further attention. Whatever the reason, the difference in how the two brothers have handled recent events remains one of the most discussed parts of the royal story, showing just how complicated their relationship has become and why questions about trust continue to dominate the conversation. The situation reportedly became even more complicated as new reports emerged surrounding travel arrangements connected to Birmingham and the Invictus Games. One claim that quickly attracted attention involved an alleged request regarding the use of a helicopter during the visit. That single detail soon became another major talking point among royal commentators. Because the Invictus Games remain closely connected to Prince Harry's charitable work and long-standing support for veterans, even routine logistical discussions were viewed by many as carrying far greater importance. For some observers, it was never simply about transportation. Instead, they believed it reflected broader questions about family boundaries, mutual respect, and the future of Harry's relationship with the monarchy. Royal analysts suggested situations like this continue to place senior members of the royal family in the challenging position of balancing long-standing protocol, personal relationships, and growing public expectations all at once. Prince Harry has earned widespread recognition for his long-standing support of wounded, injured, and sick service members through the Invictus Games, an initiative that remains one of the defining parts of his public legacy. At the same time, conversations surrounding leadership decisions, media attention, and organizations connected to Harry and Meghan have continued to attract significant interest. One report that drew particular attention claimed Meghan had requested royal transportation during an important stage of the visit.
In the scenes, Sandringham, she's hoping, will slide away. And I wouldn't imagine her not holding out on this until the 11th hour. The thing is, William won't crumble. Even if the king says they have to, William won't crumble on Windsor. That is 100% for sure.
I think it's very, very, is very dark what he's doing.
I think it's very entitled, like Prince Andrew, and I think it all stems from the Queen, who used to really just say it was a yes woman for, you know, Prince Andrew, and I think it was the same with Harry, because obviously she felt bad about him losing his mother, so I think he was mollycoddled by the Queen.
I think what you're getting at is, if you remember the royal family, you're very privileged. You got this incredible status. You've got instant wealth. You never have to worry about money. You live in palaces. Now, you need an intellect to be able to deal with that. And if you're dumb and thick, like Harry and William, not
Andrew.
No, William's a clever guy. Harry and Andrew, they're both, you know, thick as mints.
According to various media reports, that request was not approved, leading to renewed discussion about alternative travel plans and possible accommodation options. Attention soon turned to Windsor as a possible place for Harry and Meghan to stay, but that idea quickly sparked another round of debate among royal commentators. Windsor is closely associated with Prince William, Catherine, and their family, prompting some observers to suggest that having both households so close together could create unnecessary challenges. Reports claimed William was reportedly uneasy with that possibility, although those claims have never been officially confirmed. As a result, attention reportedly shifted to Sandringham as another possible location. According to several commentators, Meghan was also said to be less than enthusiastic about that option. That reported hesitation only fueled even more speculation. Some commentators suggested Sandringham's strong royal connections, combined with the likelihood of heavy media coverage and photographers, may have made it a less attractive choice. Others pointed to completely different possibilities. However, no official explanation has ever been provided, leaving much of the discussion based on media reports and public commentary rather than verified facts. Critics also highlighted what they believed was a contradiction within the broader story. Harry and Meghan have previously spoken about the difficulties they experienced while carrying out royal duties, describing the pressures of constant media attention, demanding schedules, and strict royal expectations. Against that background, reports suggesting requests for royal transportation or accommodation sparked fresh debate. Some observers felt those reports were difficult to align with the couple's earlier public comments. Others argued the situation was far more complex, and that practical travel arrangements during official visits should not automatically be viewed as inconsistent with their previous experiences.
He's a prince, big deal. He made it known he doesn't want to be royal. Well, he wants to be royal, he doesn't want to fulfill the duties of a royal, except as and when it suits him.
If you're the royal family, and I know this for a fact from talking to people close to them, right, there's a lot of wariness about this, right? They don't trust them, period. They just don't trust them. I mean, Harry to them is like Brooklyn Beckham is to the Beckhams now.
She doesn't get away, and she hasn't got away, either privately or publicly, because not only has the royal family held its line very firmly, but the public have got fed up of her as well. I know people don't like to accept it, but the technique of giving them enough rope to hang themselves with has actually worked very effectively.
Supporters of Harry and Meghan continue to argue that requesting appropriate security, transportation, and accommodation during an official visit is entirely reasonable. They point out that similar arrangements have historically been made for members of the royal family and invited guests whenever circumstances called for them. From that perspective, such requests would simply reflect standard planning rather than anything unusual. Critics, however, see the matter differently. They argue the discussion extends well beyond transportation or accommodation. Instead, they believe it raises broader questions about balancing independence from royal responsibilities while still seeking access to certain royal resources and arrangements. That difference in viewpoint has become one of the main reasons the reported visit continues to generate so much public discussion. For many commentators, the bigger issue is no longer where Harry and Meghan might stay or how they might travel. The larger question is whether family relationships can truly move forward while long-standing disagreements and different expectations continue to influence every new development. Looking at the wider reaction to Prince Harry, It's worth noting that much of the criticism voiced by royal commentators is often framed as disappointment rather than outright hostility. Millions of people have watched Harry grow up in the public eye, from his childhood through some of the most challenging moments of his life. Many remember him as a popular royal who worked closely alongside Prince William while carrying out engagements both in the United Kingdom and overseas. Because of that shared history, some long-time royal followers say their views today are shaped more by how much has changed than by simple criticism. They remember a time when the two brothers appeared united, making today's reported family divisions seem even more striking. Prince Harry was once widely regarded as one of the monarchy's most recognizable and energetic public figures.
It was that Netflix party, wasn't it?
And desperate. To your point, Piers, desperate equals dangerous.
Correct.
And Piers is now advocating for their titles to be stripped. And what I thought was really interesting here is Robert Jobson, who you know is someone who appears here on Outspoken, and I have described him as the journalist closest to King Charles, played down the significance of what a meeting would actually mean.
They'll just get some deal and it'll end up like the Spotify or Netflix deal. It'll end up like a load of rubbish. So they'll get a little spike and then it'll just go drop off.
I don't think it'll be a deal. I think she's hoping it might trigger some sales of As Ever product.
A little bit.
Over the years, however, public disagreements and changing family dynamics have reshaped how many people view his role within the institution. Debate over his position continues, with opinions remaining sharply divided. This week, broadcaster Piers Morgan added another comparison that quickly spread across social media and news coverage. Morgan compared Harry's reported family tensions to the widely discussed relationship between Brooklyn Beckham and his own family. According to Morgan, both situations illustrate how personal decisions can sometimes create greater distance within close family relationships. Whether people agree with that comparison or not, it captured attention because it touched on a much broader theme that extends beyond the royal family itself. The discussion became less about individual personalities and more about how trust, communication, and expectations can gradually change over time within any family. Morgan also said his opinion was shaped by conversations with people he described as being close to royal circles, including individuals connected to Queen Camilla and Princess Beatrice. According to his account, the atmosphere surrounding Harry's reported visit was not driven by anger or open conflict. Instead, he suggested there was a growing sense of emotional exhaustion. That observation quickly became another major talking point among royal commentators and royal watchers alike. Many analysts believe that difference is important. Anger can ease over time.
As ever. More than that, as global interest in them plummets, the scheming Sussex pair know that massaging their connection to the most famous family on earth will get people talking about them again. And in Meghan's mixed up mind, when you're in the news, you're in the money. And boy, oh boy, do the desperate Duchess and her petulant prince need money. Fast.
Today I am showing you explosive proof of how the BBC lied to me. That is our national broadcaster that is paid for by us. And they lied to protect Harry. They lied to try and rehabilitate his image.
Disagreements can gradually soften, and strained relationships sometimes find a path forward. Emotional fatigue, however, is often viewed as much more difficult to overcome. Some commentators believe it reflects a point where people simply no longer want to revisit the same issues again and again. Whether that view is accurate remains open to interpretation, but it has become a significant part of the ongoing discussion surrounding the royal family's current relationships. At the same time, public attention has continued to focus on Meghan Markle. Some commentators describe her current position as increasingly challenging, while others completely reject that view. Those opposing opinions show just how divided public reaction remains. Critics argue that Harry and Meghan still receive considerable public attention because of their royal connections, while supporters maintain the couple have every right to build independent careers, continue their charitable work, and pursue new professional opportunities. That sharp contrast helps explain why the story refuses to fade. Public opinion remains split between those who believe Harry and Meghan are creating a life independent of the monarchy and those who feel their royal ties continue to play a major role in their public profile. As a result, almost every new report triggers another wave of analysis, debate, and different interpretations across television, newspapers, and social media. Many observers also point to the couple's documentaries, interviews, charitable projects, and business ventures, saying public interest remains especially high because of their continuing connection to the royal family. From that perspective, some critics question whether any future visit to Britain would be focused only on rebuilding personal relationships. Instead, they believe renewed royal links could naturally generate additional attention around future projects. These views remain opinions expressed by commentators rather than confirmed facts. Supporters strongly disagree with that interpretation. They argue Harry and Meghan remain internationally recognized public figures who are fully entitled to build careers, support charitable causes, and speak about issues that matter to them, just like many other well-known personalities. As with so many aspects of this ongoing royal story, both sides continue viewing the same events through very different lenses, ensuring the public debate remains as active as ever. Another story involving Prince Harry also sparked fresh discussion after reports emerged about a charitable contribution totaling approximately £1.1 million connected to a children's charity.
An unmitigated disaster, if you wanted to put it into brutal terms. I can't imagine why anybody other than a bit of free publicity would want to hook up with this ex-royal and cable TV actress. You know, there's nothing to be gained other than a bit of free publicity. Of course, as I said, she thrives on this.
£0.1 million is a strange amount of money. That jumped out to me straight away. I've previously worked at a charity. I've had countless celebrities use charities to rehabilitate their images, or their image rather. So £1.1 million, that is a donation that will guarantee you headlines. It's over £1 million. It also means that when it's translated into other currencies, it will still be, by and large, for a lot of currencies, over £1 million. So those headlines...
Early coverage led some readers to believe the donation had come directly from Harry personally, creating the impression of a substantial personal contribution. As journalists later reviewed publicly available charity records, some reported that the funding appeared to have been distributed through a charitable foundation associated with him, rather than coming directly from his own finances. That prompted another round of discussion about how charitable donations are presented and understood by the public. The renewed attention led some commentators to once again raise questions about Harry and Meghan's royal titles, while others argued the charitable work itself should remain the main focus regardless of how the donation was structured. Royal journalist Robert Jobson also added his perspective, contributing to the broader conversation surrounding King Charles and developments within the royal family. His observations are frequently discussed by royal followers whenever new reports about the family's evolving relationships emerge. Imagine how much attention a private family meeting like this can generate. For many commentators, any reported interaction involving Harry, Meghan, and senior members of the royal family instantly becomes international news. Every new report brings fresh analysis, endless discussion, and countless opinions. Some critics argue that ongoing royal connections naturally keep Harry and Meghan in the public spotlight, while supporters believe any family reunion should simply be treated as a private matter. Whatever side people take, there is little doubt that stories involving the royal family continue to capture worldwide attention. Then another report began making headlines, shifting attention once again. Claims started circulating about an alleged unseen photograph showing the late Queen Elizabeth II sharing a special moment with her great-granddaughter Lilibet during the final months of the Queen's life. The story immediately captured the public's imagination. If such a private family photograph were ever confirmed, many believe it would become one of the most talked-about royal images in recent years. It's easy to understand why the report spread so quickly. A personal family photograph featuring Queen Elizabeth II would naturally carry tremendous historical and emotional significance. Royal followers around the world immediately began asking the same questions. Could such an image really exist? If it does, why has it never been made public? Those questions fueled widespread discussion, even though no independently verified evidence has confirmed the photograph's existence. Royal experts who closely followed Queen Elizabeth's later years have often described her relationship with Harry and Meghan as becoming increasingly complicated over time. As family disagreements attracted greater public attention, many commentators suggested the Queen placed even greater importance on protecting private conversations and personal family moments. According to several royal observers, maintaining privacy around those relationships became one of her key priorities during that period. Even so,
there is a picture of the late Queen, Elizabeth II, with Lilibet. And not only that, she goes on to say that according to people who witnessed Lilibet and the Queen together, who she has directly spoken to, well, come on, who were those people? Harry and Meghan. Like, who else witnessed that interaction? And she says there was a lovely bond.
it remains important to separate confirmed information from ongoing speculation. Stories surrounding the reported photograph continue to rely largely on claims that have never been independently verified. Critics often ask why no confirmed evidence has appeared if such an important image truly exists. Others respond that private family photographs are exactly that, private, and do not need to be shared publicly. Until reliable confirmation emerges, the story remains another unanswered question surrounding the royal family. Supporters of Harry and Meghan also argue that every family deserves the right to keep personal photographs out of the public eye. From their perspective, there should be no expectation that intimate family moments must be released simply because they involve globally recognized public figures. Privacy, they say, should remain a reasonable expectation regardless of public curiosity. Even so, the discussion continues to grow. Like many stories involving the Sussexes, the conversation eventually circles back to one central issue: trust. Royal commentators continue debating which reports deserve confidence, which claims remain unverified, and how much information comes from unnamed sources rather than official confirmation. That uncertainty has become one of the defining features of nearly every major royal headline. Critics, meanwhile, argue that Harry and Meghan's connection to the royal family remains one of the biggest reasons audiences around the world continue following their story. Every reported disagreement, possible reunion, or family development quickly creates another cycle of headlines. Supporters counter that public interest naturally follows well-known public figures regardless of family tensions. Those competing viewpoints ensure every new report is examined from every possible angle. Many commentators also believe this reported visit carries importance beyond a simple family gathering. Some see it as another opportunity to improve strained relationships, while others believe it represents just one chapter in a much longer story that continues to unfold. Whatever the interpretation, attention remains firmly focused on how these family relationships may develop in the years ahead. Another major question continues to center on Prince William and his future role as king. Royal analysts have frequently discussed how his eventual reign could influence family relationships and royal responsibilities. If the reported distance between William and Harry remains unchanged, some commentators believe future interactions could become even more limited. Others believe family dynamics can always change with time, and that no relationship is permanently fixed. That uncertainty adds yet another layer to an already closely watched story. Royal followers continue wondering what the future may hold once William eventually becomes monarch. Will relationships gradually improve, or will today's divisions continue into the next reign? At this stage, nobody knows the answer, but those questions remain among the biggest topics surrounding the future of the monarchy. Throughout all of this, Prince William has largely maintained his public silence. That decision alone has become a major topic of discussion. Some analysts believe his approach reflects patience and restraint, while others see it as an effort to protect the stability of the monarchy by avoiding further public disagreements. Because William rarely comments publicly on family matters, every appearance and every reported decision is carefully examined for possible meaning. Public opinion surrounding Harry and Meghan has also continued to evolve. Their interviews, memoir, documentaries, charitable initiatives, and business ventures have all contributed to an ongoing debate that remains deeply divided. Some people continue supporting the couple's decisions, while others remain critical of the direction they have taken. As new reports continue emerging, opinions keep shifting, ensuring the conversation remains very much alive. For now, many important questions remain unanswered. What is the true state of Harry's relationship with King Charles today? Could future private meetings gradually help rebuild family ties? How might William's future reign shape the wider family dynamic? And can the royal family eventually find common ground after years of highly publicized disagreements? Those questions continue driving worldwide interest, with every new development adding another chapter to a story that is still unfolding. Only time will reveal where these relationships ultimately lead. Until then, every reported meeting, every public appearance, and every new development will likely continue attracting global attention as one of the world's most closely watched families navigates an uncertain future. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with friends who enjoy following royal news and major developments. We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below and join the conversation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.